Yesterday, I buried my daughter. She's in the next room right now, laughing, probably scrolling through her phone with the boy she's in love with. She's alive. She's healthy. To anyone looking in, she's perfectly happy. But the daughter I raised, the one who grew up in what I believed was a safe, honest, and whole family, she is gone. And the reason she's gone is standing right beside her. Her boyfriend, Michael, is my husband's son, his biological son. And as far as I know, I am the only person on earth who knows they are brother and sister. My name is Sarah. For 20 years, I built what I thought was the perfect life. It was my masterpiece, a beautiful home in a quiet suburb, a career I was proud of, a husband, David, who still, after all this time, could look at me across a crowded room and make me feel like the only woman in it. And our daughter, Emily, my mirror image, not just in her smile or the way she tilts her head when she's thinking, but in her spirit. She was my best friend. I thought our foundation was solid. I thought we were untouchable. But it turns out, the biggest threats don't come from the outside. They're already inside the house, waiting in a forgotten box in the attic. It started to unravel at my 40th birthday party. The house was full of life friends, family, music. David was in his element, a charming host, his hand always finding mine or resting on the small of my back, a silent message. This is all for you. I love you. Emily was dancing with her friends, so young and full of light. I remember feeling a surge of pure gratitude. This was it. I had built the dream. And then I overheard a conversation I was never meant to hear. Two of David's elderly aunts were nestled in the corner by the fireplace. One of them, Aunt Carol, with eyes that miss nothing, said to the other, "He sure dotes on that girl, doesn't he? Just like his father doted on him. It's in the blood. Though, thank God, he doesn't have his father's complications." The other aunt, Patricia, leaned in and hushed her. "Oh, hush, Carol. Not the time or the place. And who even remembers that Helen girl anymore?" Helen. The name landed in the pit of my stomach like a stone. It was completely alien. There was no Helen in the stories of David's past, no ex-girlfriend he'd ever mentioned with any significance. But the way Aunt Carol said it with that knowing, slightly scandalized tone, it implied a shared secret, a piece of family history I wasn't privy to. I looked over at David, who was laughing heartily with my brother. He looked so open, so genuine. I shook my head, dismissing it as the ramblings of old women. I took a long sip of my wine and let the noise of the party swallow the name whole. But the seed was planted, and seeds, even forgotten ones, can grow in the dark. A week later, I was on a spring cleaning rampage, determined to tackle the one place we always ignored, the attic. Buried under a stack of old winter coats and college textbooks, I found a simple cardboard box, the kind you'd use for files. It was taped shut. There was a layer of dust on it that told me it hadn't been touched in decades. My curiosity got the better of me. I sliced the tape with my fingernail. Inside there was no stack of memories, just a small, neat pile, a few faded, curled photographs, and a single envelope. The first photograph made my breath catch. It was David, but a David I had never known. He couldn't have been more than 20. His arm was wrapped around a young woman. She was petite, with long, straight blonde hair and large, expressive eyes. She was looking up at him like he hung the stars. He was looking at the camera with a confident, easy smile. They were golden and young and painfully in love. I turned it over. On the back, in David's familiar handwriting, it said, "Me and Helen, summer 98, forever." My heart started to beat a little faster. Helen, the name from the party. This was her. The next few photos were variations of the same story. The two of them at a beach, at a fair, their faces pressed together in a photo booth strip. It was a whole relationship, a whole chapter of his life I never knew existed. With trembling hands, I picked up the envelope. It was addressed to David at his old college P.O. box. The return address was just a name, H. Miller. There was no stamp. It had never been mailed. It felt private, final. I unfolded the single sheet of lined paper inside. The handwriting was elegant, but the words were desperate. David, I'm writing this because you won't answer my calls. Your mother came to see me. She told me to leave you alone, that you've moved on and have a new life now. She said it would be better for everyone if I just disappeared, but I can't disappear without you knowing the truth. We have a son, David. Our son. His name is Michael. He was born on March 10th, 1999. He has your eyes. I look at him every day and I see you. I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking you for anything. I just need you to know that he exists. He is your blood. I won't try to contact you again. Goodbye, Helen. The date at the top was May 15th, 2000. The world tilted. The dusty air in the attic became too thick to breathe. I slid down onto the rough wooden floor, the letter clutched in my hand. A son. David had a son, born over a year before we even met. His mother, Helen, had reached out, and he had done nothing. He had let his mother handle it. He had taken the easy way out and buried it. He had started a new life with me, built a family with me, all while knowing he had a firstborn child out there in the world, a child he had effectively abandoned. The betrayal was so vast, so cold, it felt like my insides were freezing. I thought of David coaching Emily's soccer team, teaching her to drive, holding her when she cried over a broken heart, all while another child, his own son, was growing up without a father. I don't know how long I sat there, but eventually a cold, hard clarity settled over me. I gathered the photographs and the letter, placed them back in the box, and carried it downstairs like a bomb. David was in the living room, watching a game. He looked up and smiled his easy, familiar smile. Hey, honey, find any buried treasure up there? I didn't say a word. I just walked over and placed the box on the coffee table in front of him. The smile vanished from his face. He recognized it. I watched the color drain from his cheeks, leaving a sickly grayish pallor. He looked from the box to me, and in his eyes I saw pure, unadulterated terror. Sarah, he began, his voice a hoarse whisper. Who is Helen, David? My voice was terrifyingly calm. And who is Michael? He just stared at the box as if it contained a ghost. David, I snapped, the calm shattering. Do you have a son? Have you known about him for 20 years and never said a word? He finally looked up at me, and his eyes were filled with a weary, ancient shame. Yes, he breathed out, the word barely audible. There was a son. Helen, there was a summer fling. It got complicated. My parents. My mom was sure she was just after money, that it might not even be mine. They told me to cut ties, that it would ruin my future. And then I met you. He looked at me, pleading. You were everything, Sarah. You were a fresh start. I was a coward. I wanted to forget it ever happened. I thought if I never acknowledged it, it wouldn't be real. Forget? I repeated, the word tasting like ash. You forgot you had a child, and your entire family. They all knew? They all helped you hide this? Before he could answer, the front door swung open. Mom, Dad, I'm home. Emily's voice echoed through the house, bright and happy. And I brought Michael with me. Time stopped. The name hung in the air between us, a death sentence. David's face was a mask of pure horror. "Sarah, please," he begged, his voice cracking. "Please, not now." But I was already turning, moving on autopilot toward the foyer. Emily stood there, her face glowing, her hand linked with a tall, handsome young man. "Mom, this is Michael. Can you believe we're in the same pre-law program? We've been studying together for weeks." He smiled, a polite, slightly shy smile. "It's nice to finally meet you, Mrs. Miller." And I saw it. I saw it as clearly as if I were looking at a young David. He had David's dark, expressive eyes. He had the same slight dimple in his chin. He had his build, his posture. It was all there, a living, breathing ghost from the box in the attic. My daughter was in love with her brother. I felt the floor sway beneath me. I think I managed a strangled, "Hello, Michael. Nice to meet you, too." I don't know. It was all a blur. "We're just going to grab a snack and study in my room, okay?" Emily said, already pulling him toward the kitchen. I just nodded, unable to form words. They disappeared down the hall, their laughter trailing behind them. I stood there, rooted to the spot, with my husband watching me from the living room doorway, his face a portrait of devastation. And that's where I am now. They are 20 feet away, separated by a thin wall. They are talking, laughing, making plans for a future that is a lie, a future that is a tragedy waiting to happen. I am trapped in this horrific silence. If I speak the truth, I will detonate their world. I will shatter my daughter's heart and destroy this young man who has done nothing wrong but fall in love with his sister. I will expose my husband as a liar and a coward, and it will likely end our marriage. But if I stay silent, if I let this continue, I am complicit in a deception so profound it makes me sick. Every day they spend together, every touch, every kiss, is a step deeper into a nightmare. The truth will come out eventually. It always does. And the longer it takes, the more devastating it will be. Yesterday, I buried the daughter I thought I had, the one who lived in a world of truth and safety. Now, I am the keeper of a secret that can either destroy her quickly or let her destroy herself slowly. And I have never felt more alone or more terrified in my entire life.